Hi everyone, welcome back to another Napoleonic Wargaming Basics. This time I'm going to look at the infantry formations that are used during a game of Napoleonics. Doesn't matter what rule set you use, most of them will use these four basic formations. So first off, we've got line. Now line is the formation that's used most of the time when you're shooting, because it gives you your maximum frontage, so it gives you your maximum number of shots when you're shooting. However, these are my French, and they're depicted as 2 rows, whereas in real life the actual French normally had 3 rows of guys when they were shooting in line. But obviously, to save on figures and thereby save on cost, I just use 2. So this will be a unit in line, and they would move forward depending on what rule set you've got, 6, 8, 9, 12 inches or centimeters, depending on what scale you're using. So that's your line. As I say, that gives you your maximum amount of firepower. Next off, we've got attack column. Now this was used a lot by the French. It is very common used as a French tactic. Basically, they had a wider front, but they were also a lot deeper, and this enabled them to move faster at a reduced firepower. Obviously, you couldn't shoot as well as in line, but they still had a decent amount of firepower when they were moving. And it also gives them some rules. It will give them a slight increase in speed. Next up, we have march column. Now this gives you your minimum frontage, and your troops are laid out in a line. Now this was mainly used for marching up roads. It enabled you to march over greater distances at a quicker rate of speed. It can be used on a war game if you're playing on a large table, 8x6 or bigger. You could use this to redeploy your troops, get around the battlefield quicker. However, most games I don't find you get use this that often, as it is one of the formations of infantry, but as I say, it's not one that's used a lot. And then last up, we've got square. Now, a lot of infantry, so this is, I depict the square this way. Basically, each one of my stands of infantry is facing a different direction to depict that it's in square. Now, this is used a lot. A lot of infantry have a response to cavalry, which is automatically form square, which is what happens here. And once a unit has gone into square, then 9 times out of 10 the cavalry will stop and they won't actually attack a square. Also, your firepower is reduced. It depends on what rule set you're using, but you might only shoot with 1 dice per side, up to the maximum number of shots that the actual battalion has. So let's take black powder for instance. So we'll go back to the start. So here in line, this unit of line infantry will shoot using 3 dice. Maximum firepower for the unit, they will shoot 3 dice up to the maximum range of the weapon. In attack column, their firepower will be reduced to maybe 2 dice from the front, but you also get an increase in speed. In column or march column, the chances are you're not able to shoot at all, or if you can shoot, it'll only be a single dice. And then when you're in square, you can shoot up to your maximum number of shots. So whereas in line you can fire 3 times, you can still shoot 3 times, but you can only shoot 1 dice from each facing. So you could shoot this way 1 with dice, this way with 1 dice, and that way with 1 dice. That's it. You can't shoot your 3 dice in any direction. So that's the limiting on shooting that the various formations use. As I say, that's why a lot French often use this, because it enables them to move faster, because their skill, especially with the Imperial Guard, was getting up close and personal. So if they use this column, they still have a decent amount of firepower, but they can move across the table faster. Sometimes being in this formation will give you a +1 to your move distance, which can make a difference on a battlefield. So there's your 4 formations: line, attack column, march, and square. These are the formations that you'll use mainly playing Napoleonics. So now I've gone over them and basically told you what they are. Let's have a little look at what the drawbacks are. So go back to line. So drawbacks, when you're being shot at with cannons, you'll take casualties. If you're getting shot at by infantry, you'll take casualties. So this is your strongest formation as such. I say you can't move as fast in this, because you imagine being in line, you're moving, you have to wheel the whole column to change direction, so it's much harder to move. So you actually move a lot slower in this formation. Well, that's really the only negative. Right, let's move on to your attack column. So your attack column, you move, you can turn quicker because you have better control, better command. You have an increase in speed. However, you are more susceptible to cannon fire, because when cannons shoot, they will go straight through. So whereas in a line, you'll get hit, but it'll just take out a couple of rows. If you're in march attack, a cannon can literally go straight through, and a lot of cannons, when they fire, they will have hit modifiers and bonuses if you're shooting at somebody in march attack. Same with this, the attack column. This is, as I say, it's used mainly for getting around the table fast, or getting around the battlefield fast, or getting to the battlefield. I wouldn't recommend using it in game unless you need to move them fast, as I said, because you're restricted to very little or no firepower at all. You're also susceptible if you're shot straight on from a cannon, then the cannonball will go straight through the whole line, and that can be quite devastating depending on what rules you're using. And then this one is, again, this, you are susceptible to cannon fire. Also, a lot of the rules, if you're in square, you can't move, which is not good, or you can move maybe 1 inch depending on the rules you use. It stops you being taken out by cavalry, but you are susceptible to cannons, as I said, and your movement's very restricted. So there you go, that's a quick overview of the formations. As I say, if you look at most videos, when you see them, you'll see that most of the time the units are all lined up like this, or occasionally like this, especially if it's a French player, because they are very much an attacking force. A lot of the other nations will deploy like this, remain static so they can shoot, which is where their strength lies. But the French want to get across the table quick and do a bit of softening up for the targets and then charge in with bayonet. That's the way they played, and that's the way they fought in the Napoleonic Wars. There you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed that quick overview of the infantry formations. And if you're interested in a little battle report I did, I'll put a link in the description below for the Battle of Fontaniva, which I did, which was the French versus Austrians. It's just a skirmish over a bridge. Well, thanks for watching. See you all next time.